Enter. Oh, okay. Got it.
Well, it was such a great meditation. You got everybody so relaxed. They didn't banter.
Including myself.
Well, it is 7 o'clock, beloveds, and welcome to our Wednesday night midweek oasis at the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Sunshine Michelle Coleman, and I am the spiritual director and senior minister of our center, and I welcome you as the host tonight. Please pardon my video camera being off. My internet is unstable where I am, so I want to keep my audio strong, so at least you have a picture up so you know what I look like. So once again, welcome, and we do our midweek service so that we can come together in between Sundays to be spiritually refreshed. Most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of our previous Sunday. So last Sunday, I introduced the idea, inspired by the talk title of The World is an Oyster, and it was a fun talk. At least I feel it was, and the audience seemed to enjoy it. And tonight, you're in for a treat because our own practitioner, Emerita Carmen West-Jefferson, will add her ideas to this same weekly theme tonight. So buckle up and let's have a good time together. We present our Wednesday night services in the sat-song style, which builds off the principles and practices shared during the previous Sunday service, with the intention that these gatherings can be informal, they can be intimate, and they can be interactive. So we seek your participation in that way. This year, Centers for Spiritual Living's annual theme is 2023 Living Out Loud. And the monthly theme for February is Curiosity as Our Superpower. That's a fun one. So we're finishing up February. If you can believe, it's almost the end of the month. So we have one last topic here in February on curiosity as a superpower. If you are with us for the very first time and you are new to our community, we especially welcome you and encourage you to visit our homepage, our website at oaklandcsl.org, oaklandcsl.org, and click on the button that says I'm new. And you can find that at the lower left-hand corner of that page. You can submit your email address, which will add you to our weekly newsletter called The Village News. And it's chock full of information about what's happening in our center in the upcoming weeks. You get that in your email box. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started with the talk. We encourage you to mute yourself, not only your audio, but if you turn your video cameras off during our service tonight, it helps to improve the quality of our recording, and our team will support you in doing that if for some reason you're unable to. We encourage you also to stay tuned through the end of the service to receive special important announcements of what's going on in our center. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Practitioner Emerita Carmen West-Jefferson, who has been serving in the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living community for many years and is currently a co-leader of the Social Justice Ministry, who is partnering this Friday with the Diversity Circle for an evening virtual book discussion on the popular book, The Four Pivots, by Dr. Sean Ginwright. Carmen is a fitness and nutrition specialist incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Her topic tonight again is The World is an Oyster. And we're going to open with prayer, and right after, so Carmen is going to open us with prayer, and right after that, she will introduce her talk. And so with that, Carmen, I turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Sunshine. Thank you very much. All right. How is everyone? So let's just take a minute to just get into prayer. I always like to close my eyes, so do so if you'd like. And so knowing that God is all there is, being the space of oneness and love and kindness, knowing that God is all there is, knowing that I am one with that God. And I, Carmen West-Jefferson, speak for myself in knowing that I'm with one with that God and everyone here and those who are on their way. Knowing that we are absolutely blessed in this meeting, this coming together, the meeting of the minds, knowing where two or more are gathered, God is. And as we sit in this place of godliness, we simply allow ourselves to hear, be heard, knowing what is to be said here is said, knowing what is to be heard here is heard. And I'm blessing each and every person that is a part of this ministry of the Oasis. I'm blessing all that is involved, the Zoom call, knowing that everything is in perfect right order. And I am knowing that there is just a blessing in our message this evening. Knowing as I bring this message from my own experience and the experience that I have partnered with God with, I'm knowing there is plenty to be heard. And so I release this and I let it go, knowing that this service is again blessed. And let us anchor this truth in saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. Okay, so welcome again. So my talk is really about curiosity as a superpower. And touching on the world is your oyster. I was very excited about this theme, very excited, because I think about the times in my life in which I have been blessed with taking something into action through curiosity. So here's my story. I had a mom who loved to learn, and she instilled that love for learning within me and my two brothers. She encouraged us to ask questions about life and the world. And as a child, I grew up with the word of the day that would have to be researched for its meaning and used in a sentence. So you couldn't just ask her a question. She'd say, look it up in those books that I bought you. I spent a lot of money on those books. And the book she would be referring to is and I'm dating myself, but a lot of you who grew up in the 70s, the Britannica encyclopedias, way back before internet and Google, there were books with information that you had to look up and find out whatever it is that you needed to know. And so she never let us get away with just answering the questions. We had to look it up. Curiosity, being inquisitive, has always been with me. I wondered about everything. And sometimes people considered me nosy or, as I got older, I became interrogative. However, I'm grateful for my curious nature. And one of the earliest curiosities I can remember was the TV series, I'm dating myself again, called Bewitched. And she would wiggle her nose and things would appear or disappear. And I was like fascinated. How did that happen? What is that all about? Long before Star Trek, that became my other favorite show, or in Twilight Zone. But I love stuff appearing and disappearing. I found out later that the person who was in charge of that was called a producer. That was part of TV production. And I told myself, that's something that I'd like to be in. I was just really curious as to how that would work. And I ended up becoming a producer here in San Francisco, a TV producer. And though I didn't make items appear and disappear, but through college, I studied television production school. I learned about documentaries and documentaries, the whole curiosity for people in which you learn historical data. And for me, documentaries were curiosities in the making, historical fact finding. They gave me a sense of purpose, that I was, that I felt that I was part of. I was doing something with the world and providing me information, brought me hope, joy, that kind of thing. And so I looked up what is curiosity. And curiosity, according to the dictionary, let's see, I have it. It's a desire to know or learn something, but it's also a superpower. Raymond Anderson shares, the superpower of curiosity calls us to be better as a result of asking, seeking, exploring that which is life affirming and not life denying. So it's important that our curiosities for us, that we use them for our highest good. But I want to tell you about a big curiosity for me, because sometimes curiosity, you have to allow your ego you have to let go of your ego. And 6 years ago, I found myself ill. Most of my illness was dietary and, some physical illness. But I couldn't, I couldn't stop eating foods that were making me sick. I couldn't stop doing things that continued to make me ill. I'd been hospitalized twice for this illness. And my doctor told me if I didn't do anything about it, I would, reap some consequences. And it was suggested that I enter a very strict and disciplined food program. And of course, the ego is, I'm a certified licensed trainer and nutritionist specialist. I don't need such a program. But desperate, because my way wasn't working, I attended an informational meeting about this program. The program sounded intense, sounded strict, no nonsense, no room for me to add any kind of quirks or touches or spin on it, or any of my idiosyncrasies. I left the meeting saying I shouldn't have to do that. And I know how to take care of myself and people pay me. The ego is just, all consuming. But the deterioration of my body and but then I started to look at my life not doing the program. The deterioration of my body, the missing out of my sons growing up, their proms, their first car, my grandchildren, not being an able party as a wife, not contributing my gifts to the world. I started to think about all that, the consequences of not doing this program. And lo and behold, after going back and forth with this, ego tripping, I don't have to do that and I shouldn't have to do that. I believe God spoke to me, in curiosity. And I've always felt the things that I've achieved through curiosity has been divinely spoken to me. And what came up for me said, what if you just did what the program required? What if you just did the program? What do you have to lose? What if you just followed the recipe? And by recipe, I use that as a kind of a course word for just following the program, doing what's required, doing whatever is asked of you, follow the recipe, and what would it hurt? And the curiosity elevated me and supporting me and putting my ego on hold. And so I signed up for the program and I absolutely hated it. I hated it. I hated everything about it. It was strict. It was disciplined. Can't do this, can't do that, can't go here, can't go there, but I was determined to stick it out because I was curious. I was curious as to where this was going. And I let that lead me. What is the outcome of this? And I remember Reverend Sunshine's talk this Sunday when she talks about the oyster, the hardness, the ugliness of it. But at the end, there's a pearl. And getting to the pearl is uncomfortable. And it's painful. And it's fearful. But we go through it anyway, because we want transformation. We want transcendence. Getting to that place and how the oyster holds the pearl. And it's the same thing in things that we find hard or, when we let the ego go and we can really just be with ourselves. But it was very painful and I almost quit a couple of times, but I decided to stick with it. And the process, structure, and discipline of it reminded me of, going to school. I don't have my PhD, but I can just imagine the discipline of all that studying, You remember Reverend Sunshine going through her program, and I know it was a lot of work, and I did get a secondary degree, and it was a lot of work, but it was the same thing. And each time this layer came off, each time I was able to do something, I felt more gratitude. Each time I was able to overcome anything in this program and do it as it was required, I felt more powerful. And so the uncomfortableness, the fear and pain, has to happen. After a year, mind you, a year. That's a long freaking time to go through something. After a year, my health got better. In fact, it was restored. And the behaviors that led to my becoming ill vanished because I learned a new way of life. I was so grateful, so blessed. I thank God over and over again. I still thank God. And this experience has led me to be of service to others who have physical and nutritional issues, and landed me with a career with a medical facility that shines in preventative health issues. And I'm really grateful for that because, there's a lot of quotes I have here of which I will quote Albert Einstein. The important thing is not to stop questioning curiosity. No, I'm sorry. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. And so I really love that quote, to never stop, questioning. And Rabindranath Tagore quotes, everything comes to us that belongs to us if and when we create the capacity to receive it. The world is your oyster. Opportunities are limitless. Your life is calling through curiosity to elevate you and support your highest good. It supports your yes for the elevation of humanity. That's my words. And then Ernest Holmes writes, if we were to further inquire of our imagination what the ultimate purpose of evolution is, the most logical answer it could give would be that the purpose of life is to produce beings who can consciously cooperate with it. And that's from Living Without Fear on page 36. And so I also wanted to share, I looked up curiosity, the superpower. I don't know what my time's like. Well, I'm doing good. Okay. The important, well, I talked about Albert Einstein, but he says, why is curiosity so important? What is it about curiosity besides being a superpower? What is it about this that is so wonderful? Number one, it makes your mind active instead of passive. Curious people always ask questions and search for answers. Their minds are always active. Since the mind is like a muscle which becomes stronger through continual exercise, the mental exercise caused by curiosity makes your mind stronger and stronger. When I was going through that program to restore my health, I had to think of ways to be comfortable with not being without being. I had to think of ways to be comfortable with while being uncomfortable. I had to look at a new way of looking at food and nutrition and about being stronger, and not giving up. And so number two, it makes your mind observant of new ideas. So again, new ideas. When you are curious about something, your mind expects and anticipates new ideas related to subjects. When the ideas come, you will recognize them. Without curiosity, the ideas might pass right in front of you, and yet you miss them because your mind is not prepared to recognize them. Just think how many great ideas may have been lost due to lack of curiosity. Let me share for you. Back in the 80s, I had a friend who wanted to do music videos. And she came to me and said, Carmen, this rap is coming out, and maybe we can do a video on a rap song, or with people dancing to the song. And I said, I don't think that's gonna fly. And another one, I'm working at Channel 9. I gotta get my water. Let me have a drink of water. I'm working at Channel 9, and you're gonna love this one. It's real precious. And this new network called Home Box Office, later, HBO, cable, network, calls the station asking for programming. And they would call randomly, asking for programming. We're a new cable station, and we really could use some programming from your station. This is Channel 9. And would you mind sending us some? And and I'd ask my supervisor, no, we don't, we're not giving anything. And I'm like, yeah, cable, that's never, cable, you're ridiculous. Nobody's gonna turn on cable. So I know I told you that's a real sweet one. I'm still kicking myself on that one. Number 3, it opens up new worlds and possibilities. So being curious, you will be able to see new worlds and possibilities that are normally not visible. They are hidden behind the surface of normal life, and it takes a curious mind to look beneath the surface and discover these new worlds and possibility. Couldn't imagine myself not eating the way I was eating. I couldn't imagine myself, felt it was okay, and to be restricted and to be told what to do, and to, have to pay somebody when they paid me. It was just very different. But gratefully, I said yes to that curiosity that got me through that. But that comes up a lot, the ideas that pass, and you think, that's not going to work, or I'm not doing that, or, the fear, the pain, going through the pain of it. And number 4, it brings excitement to your life. Oh my God, I love this one. The lives of curious people are far from boring. They are neither dull nor routine. They are always new things that attract the curious person's attention. They are always new toys to play with. Instead of being bored, curious people have an adventurous life. And it has been adventurous for me, prior to that, joining that program, health program. I've been curious about moving to California. I'm from Ohio. None of my relatives moved out from anywhere. They love Ohio, the winters and everything that brings. I wanted to leave Ohio. And I was always curious about California. Dating myself again, those beach party blanket movies in the 60s, when I was a little girl, Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello. Oh, they'd be on those beaches partying. That was me. I've become a TV producer, as I shared. I've become a bodybuilder. I had to transform my body. That was fun. Even though the food was restricted, it wasn't long-term. Didn't make me ill. And I've also become an entrepreneur as a result of striking out on my own. And so I want us to, or you also, to get into action and allow your curiosity to guide you. Your life is calling. So thank you for listening to my talk. And we will go into, I have some questions for you. When did you override curiosity? And number 2, when you did, what happened? So share with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Carmen. That was so good. So your 2 questions, I'm going to put them in the chat, is
Okay.
when did you override curiosity?
Curiosity. When did you override curiosity?
And what's the other one?
And the other one is when you did listen to curiosity, when you was curious, how did you follow through in action, and what helped, and what happened? How did it elevate you?
Okay, it's your turn, people.
I'm excited to hear from you. I want to hear from everyone. Any hands up?
Yeah, I see,
Oh, I don't see the hands.
yeah, Mardia's hand is up.
Okay, please speak.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings.
I too was curious and about California. I grew up on the East Coast, and I found a way to come to California over the years after growing up, of course. And my curiosity was about the profession that I had. And so coming to California was because of the Navy. And I had opportunity when it was time to be released. I checked around for different schools for mortuary science. Because as a little girl, 8 years old, I heard a minister say, absent from the body, present with the Lord. And I said, oh my goodness, why are these people crying? They're going to be with Jesus. So I said, well, I'll grow up and make it better. So my little 8-year-old mind kept that. And so it was one of my dreams. And not only did I come to California, I was in the medical field in the Navy, which was another one of my dreams, how to take care of this body temple. And so I became a mortician, and it opened up my life, my curiosity, and it was very rewarding in the sense of helping people at a time of need. And I embrace it for the foundation and also for the way and the manner that my mom taught me certain things, because some of the things that she did, we called it missionary work growing up. And when I came out here, finding out that some of these things that people make it really a living out of. But even so, I fulfilled my dream out of the curiosity and becoming a mortician here at some of the local funeral homes in the Oakland area. And it just gave me the satisfaction of my life. So that's my part.
Awesome. Thank you, Bertha. Good to see you. Good to see
Good
you.
to see you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Constance. Hi. Constance.
I'm keeping my video off because I'm in the dark.
Okay.
Well, there you can
Oh,
sort
there
of.
you go.
I would say one of the first times I remember curiosity is in the first grade. I had my teacher was Mrs. Hobson, and that was the schools were segregated still,
Mhm.
and the very first day of kindergarten of first grade, she had one of those big big books up on the easel, and she started and all of a sudden I knew one of the words, and my hand went up in the air, and I was just so excited, and she called on me, and I told her what the word was. And so I knew that I knew how to read, and I didn't know that I had known how to read. But she was one of the first people who actually saw me, I think. I felt seen by her as a teacher and as a person. So
Nice.
that set in me a curiosity about what really makes a good teacher. So I paid attention, and my intent was to write it all down, which I never did, but I did write it other places. One of the times where I did not follow my curiosity, I wouldn't even allow my curiosity to ask the questions, was after my son was born, and I found myself in I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that things were not going well, and it was really hard, and instead of being curious about it, I ran. I was afraid I was going to hurt him. So, and it's taken years for me to figure out that I had postpartum depression, and it wasn't. But I couldn't even ask the questions because I was I was so scared about being wrong and not knowing. At that point in my life, I felt like I had to be in total control, and I had to know all the answers. So I couldn't allow the curiosity to come up and to just sort of say, and so I couldn't even talk to my husband about it. So that's I think one of the times when curiosity would have served me much better than what I did do instead. But that you know, as we say, there are no mistakes, and certainly there's a lot of other good things that came from that. But anyway, so those are the two things that I could think of.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. How precious. Thank you, Constance. Anyone else?
Miss Lita.
Hi.
Hi, Lita. Hi. How come
Hey,
no hands
everybody.
no hands are showing up for me? I don't see anyone's hand. So Reverend Sunshine, please just call people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
thank you. Hi, Lita.
Hi. I relate to what you said about your resistance um, relative to the nutritional program, and nothing. You didn't want to do any of it. Well, I am.
It's too hard.
I am going through a medical journey at the present time, and I was in resistance in what some of the medical team said I would have to do. And I thought, I don't need that. And I don't need to walk with a cane.
Mhm,
Guess
mhm.
who walks with a cane? I finally
Got it.
resigned myself to the fact I needed to get safety bars installed in the bathroom because I didn't think I really needed it. But I did, and I have them now, and I'm grateful for them. So there are a lot of little things that I was in resistance about, and I realized that everything I was told was good for me, and I had to find out for myself. Now, relative to nutrition, in the early stages of my diagnosis, I wasn't eating enough food. I thought I was, and because I didn't, I blacked out. I blacked out about 3 different times. And I finally realized I wasn't eating enough food. And so I started eating more food, but I wasn't gaining weight.
Mhm.
And that went on for a while. I couldn't get past 112 pounds. But now I eat everything in sight. And, I've gained weight, but not in my arms. My arms are not as strong as they used to be. I mean, I used to carry jugs of water and lift heavy things, and it's hard for me not to want to pick up things. And we have a very large recycle bin where I live in a 24-unit complex, and I had no problem reaching up, lifting that lid way up high and throwing in the recycle stuff. I can't do that now. I mean, if I did, it pulls on my body and it causes pain. So I'm very fortunate. A couple of the young men in the building said, "Oh, I'll take care of that for you, Lita." I said, "Thank you very much." So it disturbs me that I'm not able to do things that I used to do that came easy for me. But I have to resign myself to the fact that my body is going through some changes, and I can't allow myself to injure myself
Right.
by doing things I shouldn't do. So I'm grateful that I have help and different neighbors who help me out when necessary. But I realize, the importance of listening to my medical team, and I'm okay now, but because I have so many different medical facilities, one tells me to do this, another one wants me to do that, and a third one wants me to do this. Well, that's just too much, and it gets to be overwhelming. So I do what I can for this one, and I do what I can for that one. And if I don't get it done, too bad. I just do what I can do and resolve myself to the fact that it's okay. It's okay. And then because of some of the pills I take, they make me sleepy when I don't want to sleep. So I could be sitting on the couch and I'll fall asleep when I don't want to. so I'm going through a different journey now, and I'm paying attention, and I can't really say address curiosity at this point. I'm curious. I mean, I don't know why this happened to me. I don't know why. And I know there's a reason for it. which has not been revealed. And I'm
Mhm.
okay with that too. But in the
Mhm.
meanwhile, I have a lot of spiritual support. I do my spiritual reading. I do my affirmations. I talk to God every day.
Yes,
I'm on the Dr. Dan journey. And so,
yes.
um, and when early on, when I was going for the treatments at the hospital in Palo Alto, the nurse and the doctors would say, "Oh, you're a very strong woman." And I said, "Yes, I am." And I said, "I believe in the principles and the practices of science of mind. And I am supported. I am spiritually supported." I was always speak very positively to the doctors and the nurses. And so they would tell me, "You're a very strong woman." I said, "Yes, I am." And so, but
Mhm.
anyway, I think I'm complete. I think you get the message. And I'm glad to be on this call this evening. And definitely interested in what you had to say, Carmen, as a nutritionist yourself, and what you went through in your resistance and denial and so forth. And I find that very, very interesting. And I thank you for sharing this knowledge and information and references. And so I think I'm going to pay more attention to the word curiosity now. And, well, okay, what am
Yeah,
I curious about?
what am I, yeah,
Yeah, I'm curious
yeah,
about a lot of things,
yeah, yeah.
fun things. I mean, okay, I don't want to monopolize, so I'm complete.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Ms.
Rita.
Rita, for that.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wants to chime in? We have some more time. You can put the reaction button. There's a raised hand.
I see Judith's hand.
Yeah,
Her hand came up.
yep.
Judith.
And we need at least one more. Deb, Deb.
Hi,
Okay,
Judith.
Hi there. Well, this is a great topic. It's a great topic, and you've done a good job of presenting it, Carmen.
Thank you.
Well, what first came up, I think I'm in general a very curious person and an adventurous person. So following my curiosity is pretty easy for me. But
Mm.
one of the early things that happened was I grew up without any religion and without any belief. Both parents were atheists. And I became
Wow.
really curious about religion and about Jesus. And I had
Mhm.
a neighbor who was Catholic, a friend, a girl, a little playmate who was Catholic. And, I just became curious. So I think I was about 12. And I
Mhm.
asked my mother, I was thinking, well, what's the best way to learn about Jesus? And I thought, well, the best way would be to see how people worship Jesus on his birthday. So
Mm.
I asked my mother to take me on one Christmas Eve to 3 different services. She went to the Unitarian Church for just because of the community, even though she was atheist. She liked the community and their generosity, how humanitarian they were. And I went with
Mhm.
her sometimes to Sunday school, and I liked how they taught the kids. So I
Mhm.
said, I want to go to a candlelight Presbyterian service, a Unitarian service, and a Catholic mass,
Mhm.
midnight mass. So she took me, and we went to all 3 of those. And it was really interesting for me and very different. Each one was so different. And I remember liking the candlelight service, the beauty of the candles, but I didn't feel very much. And
Mhm.
and then I went, and then in the Catholic one, I wasn't Catholic, and I didn't know what to do. And I thought there was a lot of rigidity, I didn't feel welcomed
Mhm.
at the Catholic Church. And the Unitarian Church, I liked the feeling of it. So, but it was just my curiosity, and then I fortunately had a mother who complied, and who
That's wonderful.
who
Yeah.
honored that curiosity
Yeah.
she wasn't particularly interested, but she was allowing me to follow my curiosity. And that was sort of the beginning of a really deep spiritual search, which I followed for many years, and led me to a different teacher, and then who I'm still with. Actually, I met him when I was 18, and then eventually Science of Mind. So, and then I was going to try to follow Constance's model and think of a time when I overrode, and that was one of your questions. When did I override my curiosity and just not follow where my heart was naturally calling me, or my curiosity was calling me? And I don't think of a particular instance, but I know I've done that, and I know that when I do that, I feel like my wings are clipped. I feel shut down. I feel confined. It's not
Right.
a good feeling. It's a feeling
Yeah.
of self-restriction or constriction that's not a good one. And I know I've done that. It's just nothing in particular is coming to mind. So thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. Wonderful story. And I just loving that your mother, being an atheist, complied with your desire to seek out some sort of spiritual, program for yourself. I think that's so wonderful.
Yeah,
And
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 that
love
she
can,
went with me. She
and
accompanied
she
me
went
because I
with
couldn't
you.
drive,
That
Yeah,
is,
thank you,
and you
Carmen.
weren't shut down, which is
Yeah.
wonderful. She allowed your curiosity to blossom, because a lot of times our parents, trying to protect us, they won't allow that,
Yeah.
But I'm glad she did, and it's just absolutely wonderful. I know my curiosity about certain things my mother didn't want me asking. Don't ask about that. Don't
Right.
ask about the argument me and your father had. Don't ask about why you got to go to this school. Don't ask, yeah, there were some things, but it's just a really sweet story, that you brought up and shared about your mom. That's really nice. And so
Thank you.
your mentor, your spiritual guidance person that you're with still today, did they lead you to Science of Mind?
No,
You said you've been with him since, okay, how did you
no,
find Science of Mind?
it's a separate thing. And I learned
Uh-huh.
from him a meditation practice that I still
Okay.
practice.
Okay.
It's a teacher from India, and I've been, I still go to hear him speak. And yeah, it's been a lifelong relationship with this teacher.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
just was curious if he led you to Science of Mind,
No.
because I didn't talk about my journey, how I got here, but it's basically not believing what I was brought up to believe,
Oh,
and
I
search for
see.
something else. Yeah.
I see.
But
No,
yeah, but
these are complementary. And
yeah, sounds like it.
I came to Science of Mind by a different route.
It sounds like
Okay.
that's a whole nother story.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith.
Reinhard,
We have two last ones, I think. And
okay.
that'll take us some
Okay.
time. Reinhard and then Deb.
Hi, Reinhard. You're
Hello,
on mute. Oh, there you
can
are.
you hear me
Okay.
all now?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll be brief. We're running a little late, I understand. So yeah, I mean, the one dimension I wanna bring up also is, and it may have been mentioned, is courage. I think in my life, when I was curious, it was also always connected with courage, and
Absolutely.
having the courage to step into this what's sort of curious. So I was, for quite a number of years with a very sort of stable international company. I was working there, but then after a few years, things didn't go so well, and so on. And I was looking around, and I had an interview with the company that later brought out the iPhone, but I didn't really fully go for it at the time because something was holding me back, and it was partially, the golden handcuffs, if you will. If I stayed with the other company, and I turned 50, there was a sort of a special bonus I got, for the for a retirement plan, if you will, and so on. And later on, I was thinking back, well, what would have happened? And it's not necessarily regret, because, I mean, things changed then also at the company where I worked, and, I was, as it goes, the ups and downs. And I got to this point where I got this, extra bonus, and that allows me to live the life I can live now. So no regrets there, but it was a very, when I had this interview, it was, I mean, just the place, at Apple, it was cool. It was much cooler than where I worked. And I was very curious, but I didn't do that last step. So, and it's courage, I think. So,
Yeah.
which, then at that time I didn't do it. And so anyways, so I think that's an important dimension also.
Yeah, thank you. I had something written on that in terms of courage, but it didn't come up. But you're absolutely right, Reinhardt. It's really about courage, stepping out there, to the unknown. And your story reminds me of my home box office, which is now called HBO. And I thought about, cable. I mean, there was a lot of talk in the 80s about it, but I thought, that's not going to take. So yeah, no, I get it. Sometimes we pass over those things, but things turned out well for you anyway, with
Things are fine. And then there's also the saying of, you usually people that you don't regret the things that you did, but you may regret the things that you didn't do.
that you did. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Reverend Deb, did she have her hand up?
Yes, I did.
Where is she? Okay, hi.
Last but not
Hi.
There you are.
So, thank you for this topic, Carmen. For me, it seems like I'm always living my life in curiosity.
Mhm.
And for me, I just call it, I'm trusting spirit within.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things was when I left from California to come to Georgia. And it was literally, I was in LA, and it's like I heard this voice that said, "You're done with California." And I'm like, okay, where are we going? So my curious mind is like, all right, where am I going? And it was all of a sudden like Georgia. And so during that time, I was like, I knew people, but not to the extent. And I was like, okay, I'm trusting. So in this curiosity, there's a level of trust for me with spirit that I really that I've come to rely on quite a bit. And it has led me, it's never failed me. That's all I can put it that way. And it is about being curious, because I could have said, nope, I'm staying here. But every level that when I said yes, in that curiosity, there was something more and something greater that opened up. Because I think had I stayed in California, then I may not have taken the chance to go to ministerial school and to do a number of other things that I've done since I've been here. So it's, what was just mentioned was about that courage, stepping into that yes, that huge yes. That's, when we say yes, it's like, what am I saying yes to? And that's the other curious part that goes like, what am I really saying yes to? But it's a level of trust as well. Yeah. And so that for me, even as I look at my next steps, I'm curious, what is it that I'm wanting to do next? Where I am right now as I'm coming up to retirement age in a way. So I was like, okay, what's next? What is it that I'm choosing to do? And so I'm listening. So a part of that saying yes, it's still listening, and then making the choices based on that. So thank you for your topic today. I appreciate it. And I'm complete.
Yeah. Thank you, Reverend Deborah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. If you can, all of you, make your way down to the bottom of your screen where the reaction button is and give a heart or give a hand or give a thumbs up or a something to Carmen. A lot of your videos are off, or else I'd tell you to do some snaps and claps. You can, there we go. We got, you see, hopefully you can see some of
I
those.
can.
Carmen.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to Cozy for your comment.
Yeah, what was that? Let me see. I did see a comment. Let me see what the comment is. What is it? Thank you
Yeah,
for
please.
welcoming me into your community for these 19 years. Look at that. Curiosity led me here. Curiosity has allowed me to live, love, learn, and thrive. Curiosity is my redeeming gift that keeps on giving. Thank you for that, Cozy. That is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Really
Awesome.
appreciate it. Well, a few announcements, friends, as we wind down our evening. Please stay on, and then we'll pray out. So far, we've had a fabulous Black History Month, what I call 365, because I think any of these recognition months are an annual thing for us because we experience it every day. And again, please pardon my camera being off. I want to make sure that my audio stays strong. We're bringing February to a close, so we celebrate the importance of Black history throughout the rest of this year, but certainly we'll be staying on point for this last Sunday coming up in February. So please join us. This coming Friday, day after tomorrow, February 24th, our Diversity Circle is presenting a book discussion on The Four Pivots by Sean Ginwright, an author in honor of Black History Month, and our own practitioner Emerita Carmen West-Jefferson and Deborah Jackson, who's also on the call tonight, and Crystal Fry will be co-facilitators. It's virtual. The discussion is at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And it costs $25. So join us for that important discussion. And Carmen, FYI, at the Vista Conference that I'm at today in the Ministers' Council, they again were talking about Dr. Sean's book. So we were talking about the
Wonderful.
Four Pivots today. So it's great. You can purchase the Four Pivots in the bookstore. That we have a 30% off sale going on. So be sure and get it in honor of Black History Month. This coming Sunday, February 26th, I'll be your speaker talking about living curiosity out loud. So it's more the curiosity that we're talking about today, but you know me, I may have a different spin on it. Meditation is at 10 and our service starts at 10:30. And next Wednesday, which is the beginning of March, it's March 1st. But when we straddle these 2 months like this, we're going to be finishing out the February topic on curiosity, living curiosity out loud, but also we'll be probably flirting with the theme that's coming up for March, which is cultivating authenticity, which is my favorite topic. So join me in an interactive discussion. It's going to be a roundtable discussion with all of you, you know, and your friends. So bring a friend and come next Wednesday so we can get into living curiosity out loud a little more. Service starts at 7 service, no, that was for next Wednesday. Service on Sunday starts, you know, when that starts, and then next Wednesday, 6:30 meditation and 7 o'clock on Zoom. The Loving Stewards of Mother Earth Committee is supporting a garden party team. I'm sorry, is supporting the garden team by sponsoring a work party. I knew I saw a party in there somewhere. Saturday, March the 4th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, a garden party. Pruning and weeding, if that's your thing. You know, the winter and our rains and stuff, you know, we can help our springtime be beautiful out in our beautiful property. All hands are welcome and needed. 9 to 12. Please bring gloves, a water bottle, and any gardening equipment that you may have. Pruning shears, trowels. I don't even know what that is, but if you love this thing, you do. Weeding tools, shovels will be made available. Okay, and next we have on Sunday, March 5th, we have a busy weekend that weekend. Will be Compassionate Attention to Loss Ministry. CALM is a support group that meets on the first Sunday of every month. So be sure and put that on your calendar. It's after service. On Thursday, March 10th is our annual meeting. It's not Thursday, it's a Friday. It's Friday, March 10th, and it's at 6 p.m. And it will be virtual on Zoom. Everyone's invited to attend, and members of our community, official members, will receive a notice and information by email. So watch for that. On Sunday, March 12th, we have lots going on in our community. We're going to be co-creating our first listening circle with me. I've been talking a lot about listening and leaning into listening. There's a class coming up about it. So we're going to have a Sunday listening circle on March 12th after Sunday service. More information to come. So please stay tuned. And another thing to stay tuned for and to participate in, here's another thing coming up, is the installation. I'm not calling it my installation, even though I'm being installed as the senior minister, but it's our installation and celebration. And it's a fun, good, solid time that, you know, all of you have been praying into. So that will be on Saturday, March 25th. Please save the date for that. More information to come. Now is the season for nonviolence. It's a several month long period where there are daily affirmations. So if you're at service, you can pick up the affirmations for each of the days of season for nonviolence. It's also, you can go to our village news to download how to get those affirmations. So it's not too late to embrace peace. That's what nonviolence season for nonviolence is all about. And coming up last but not least, it's the last week to give any of your donations to our nonprofit partner, Abundant Blessings. They're doing great work in the Alameda County area where OCSL is to support the houseless community. So there's a big barrel that's there of all the items that they're collecting, and you still have an opportunity to give. And for more information, again, you can look for our Thursday Village News. You can check our website, and we look forward to your participation in all the wonderful activities we provide you at Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. Last but not least, almost last, is this is the way we have a group of people who are our contact team. And when you need to know something about any of the areas that they represent, Constance on the administrative side, as you know, I'm your senior minister. There's and the board, Zoe DeMuro is the president of the board, who will be leaving office soon as we transition to new board members. Susan Brecker handles our facility usage. We have Dorothy Mendez, who's on the line, who heads up our ministry of prayer. And we also have Dal Becker, who is our bookkeeper. These folks you can ask questions of. Even if you don't know who to ask the question, I'm sure some of us can direct you.
Reverend Sunshine,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but was there a reason why you didn't say anything about the upcoming memorial?
No, I didn't see it in here. And so it just didn't cross my mind, but thank you for mentioning it. So on Friday, next Friday, a week from this Friday, is on March 3rd, is our longtime practitioner, Louise Thompson's memorial service will be at the center at 3 p.m. Thank you, Constance, for mentioning that. There were quite a few announcements, but that one wasn't in there, so thank you for that. And now is our time for joyous giving, and we have an affirmation that we say together, that we affirm our giving and we encourage our giving that helps our center to run. So let us affirm together our affirmation, saying it out loud. Joyously I give with an attitude of abundance,
Gratitude, abundance,
knowing that
as I give, I do receive.
And so it is. And so it is. And we're just naming it out loud to the universe. We have lots of ways that we can give. If you go to ocsl.org, our website, and click on donate, it will take you to a page that shows you how to donate. You can click donate. You can also click Zelle if that's your preferred method. You can text to give. The number is there. On Sunday services, if you're coming to service on Sunday, you can give there in the baskets. And so there's lots of ways to give, and we encourage you to do so, knowing that as you give, you so receive, because we believe in the law of circulation. So with that, beloveds, we're ready to close out, and Rev. Deb Hammond is going to offer us closing prayer. Thank you for allowing me to be your host tonight. Reverend Sally will be back next week, and we will see you after that. So, Rev. Deb.
Yes, yes, yes. Ooh, what a wonderful, wonderful evening this has been. Just giving thanks for the message, giving thanks for the hearts, the hands that have made this all possible. The electricity, the energy that's flowing, the clear circulation of the Zoom conference and internet activities. Just giving thanks for everything that has taken place, knowing that in this moment, the curiosity of who and whose we are resides with us always. So I'm just giving thanks for this time that we have spent, knowing that the curiosity question goes on and on and on in our sleeps and our waking lives. Even the curious question of what is mine to do today? How am I to be today? Whatever the question is. And in this moment, I know that it's all good because it's all God. God has given us this ability to be curious of our lives. And so I am just grateful for this. So I bless the rest of this evening, the rest of this week, and until we come together again, knowing that all is God, all is good, and so it is.
And
So
so
it
it
is.
is.
Yes. So
Amen.
So it is.
Amen.
Thank you, Reverend
Thank you.
Deborah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Carmen.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you,
all.
Carmen.
Helene,
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you,
Sabrina,
Carmen.
Alan,
Thank you.
everybody
Thank
else.
you.
Come off
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Troy.